Hi. Welcome. Welcome to stream. It is me, Imogen. Wombat, hello. Wobbledovsy, hello. Face Your Fear, hello. Cabbage, hello. Elecman, hello. So many people. A stream? Fine. I'm in. Yeah. The reluctant, I'll show up. If I have to. If I must. If it lets me, do something more interesting than my employment. I've been sneezing all morning, and I feel one coming on right now, and I hope I'm not getting sick. That would be inconvenient. It always is. I feel like I've been getting sick a lot in the last few months, or in the last like year, basically. Maybe it's just something changing about me. At least like if I got sick now, I'm not actually like doing that much. We'll say like this weekend, and hopefully that means like I'd be better before like next week when I have all sorts of plans. But hello. Welcome back to normal s streams, as contrasted to um, yesterday's book club stream with Messier and Ray and Firewriter, which was really fun. Villanelle fever, maybe it might be the Christian God telling me that I'm doing bad things, and that I should be more respectful of his book that I scribbled inside of, to make a poem the other day. This is a poem that I made out of Matthew. So that's kind of cool. But maybe God is sending plagues or something, because I'd imagine he doesn't like that much if he's up there watching. So, or it's the tarot, right? Or it's the tarot. I did a poem on a tarot card, and so it could be some sort of tarotic uh, retribution of some kind. I'm not particularly sure. Watt, hello, welcome. I feel like I should just say it like what, but there's two A's, and two A's is really more of a what. Ah, Watt. Honestly, I think it's a great compliment. Not that I speak for him. Yeah, if God's paying attention to me, then that's pretty cool. I would feel kind of warm and fuzzy about that, I guess. Maybe a little scared. He's probably seen things that he didn't want to see. I guess he's all, yeah, whatever. Not really my problem. Not a theologian, nor particularly interested in the implications of a true and existent Christian God. Yeah, okay. I feel like I might be getting sick. Um, or it could be that I just lit incense and now like the smoke is just smoking me out. But I stayed up really late last night, and it could just be that my body's like, "What the fuck? Why were you up until 11:30? That's not your usual thing. You need to repent for that, right?" And so I have a nose things going on, but it yeah, it does kind of feel like sick. I don't know. Who knows? Hi, Callie. Welcome, Callie, future member of the Twitch Book Club, and all of that. Partial contributor to my staying up later, much later than I normally do. Part of the conspiracy to ruin my sleep schedule. We were all in a Discord call last night, a bunch of us in my server. I think I might start doing this more. I think I might start doing this more. Just going into the Discord chat, or the voice thing in my server, and just hanging out in there, and if anyone wants to, hang out, then I can just be there. I know that's not for everyone, but I think it's cool to actually talk to other writers, and I had much fun doing that last night, right? So maybe that's maybe that's something that will occur more often. Sometimes I get off stream and I immediately like pick up my phone and just call a friend. I have a few friends who are my like consistent dials, but sometimes none of them pick up. And so then I could just hop in a Discord chat, right? Classics are Ace. Welcome, hello, welcome, hello. You have Jackbox games, Wombat. I'm not sure I've ever played Jackbox games. Genuinely, I just don't think I have for all of their I don't know what's the word, ubiquity. I feel like I'm just totally misusing that word, but I'm thinking of something like prevalence. But I really don't know if ubiquity means prevalence. I don't have quite enough brain function. Not enough neurons are firing for those little pieces, those electric circuits to connect confidently. The ubiquity part of my brain and the confidence part of my brain are, I guess, far away. Yeah. Yes. Yes, ubiquity means prevalence. Excellent. I'll take that as a yes to me. I like Jackbox, but I feel it's only fun with people you know well, sort of like Cards Against Humanity. Right. Like there's a vibe, and I feel like everyone plays these kinds of things differently when it's a party game, and like to get to know someone, it can be like, well, my humor doesn't gel with your humor, and now we're just making jokes that other people aren't appreciating, right? Or Commander, yeah. Commander, I'm willing to play with my friends because I don't like it as a format. I will not play Magic the Gathering Commander games with strangers. That's hell. There is maybe no punishment greater. No punishment greater. I do not mean to exaggerate. There's no punishment greater than playing a game of Commander with strangers at a card game store. Horrible, horrific, awful, evil, bad, brutal, tragic. I can't. Suffering. I haven't heard of Jackbox in so long. Yeah, I don't think I've heard anyone bring it up in quite some time either. Um, but it was kind of fun. We were in there, and like some other people came in the chat, and we're just like sitting and writing their stuff, and then like some of us were playing games. I finished the video game Gris, Gris, Gray in French, little puzzle platformer from a while ago. That's very pretty, beautiful game. Just work of art, truly. And I don't know, Ray was just like playing GTA, and then I was like analyzing song lyrics because Messier wanted to know my thoughts. It's just good time. It was just very. I was typing up my poems and backing up my poetry. My hard drive is updated, so as of today, if my computer goes away, all of my poems will be preserved. Now, by tomorrow, there will be new poems that will no longer be backed up and may not survive the house fire. Commander Pod with two brothers and a dad is so peak. Such a fun meta with the arms race. I That's really cool. I've been thinking that I might offer to my older sister to run a D&D campaign for her and some of her friends. Uh, I think that would be incredibly fun because I just want to run a campaign. That being said, I could definitely just run something for my friends, though I just don't know if I have enough friends who are available enough and down enough for that kind of thing. Not that I know really anything about her friends, but then it becomes like her responsibility to sort of wrangle them and schedule them and have them show up, which would be nice for me. Or I could just start one online, with individuals who I know online. Hey, want to try and join a new group social dynamic with strangers while trying to do complex math that relies on reading cards upside down when they have like alternate arts and they're playing on like a anime waifu playmat and like statistically one person in the pod smells really bad, and it's usually not me. Um, Although today, I guess I didn't shower yesterday, but and I haven't yet today. So maybe today I'm that person in the pod, but I'm burning incense at least to sort of mask that fact for myself. Uh, you like puzzle platformers? I was actually part of developing one that's on Steam. Yeah, I like puzzle platformers. Usually, like, I feel like it's very often that you see like a puzzle platformer as a vessel for a very beautiful kind of game or very like atmospheric. Um, and I think if those are the case, then like yes, I really like them. Yeah, tell us which game, right? But Gree, right, was really nice. Uh, I haven't played really that much. I don't play that many games. Uh, but I just love things with cool movement mechanics often. And the feeling of playing, like my favorite thing often about video games is satisfying movement. Uh, where I really feel like I can exist and move around in the world kind of fluidly. And so like when I played Overwatch, right, the character that I played, I was most interested in like Pharah and Lucio, because I'm like I want to be able to move and have that be an important part of my gameplay. And so things where it's a puzzle, game where you have to like flip gravity upside down or whatever, or it just feels very smooth as the character traverses the game. I really like those things. It's called a color theory. The basic idea is color is the only thing that matters. Similar in vibes to Baba Is You. I, man, I have Baba Is You on Switch, and I feel like maybe my sister has the Switch now, but I played like a really good amount of Baba Is You. I feel like I played like half of it because my philosophy professor recommended it. We actually, I think we played Baba Is You in class once. Um, and, and in college, and like it was to be used as some metaphor for something, which is fucking awesome. I love that professor. um oh man, I should go back and finish that game. um we won the Excellence in Design Award at the Boston Festival of Indie Games last year. That is so cool, Wombat. Yeah, congrats. That's like really badass to like win an award for your game. I really, really, really want to do writing for a video game, and I feel like if I just keep talking about it, um, that will eventually come into being. Maybe I just need to like start writing a game and then just seek out people to help me develop it and do art. Maybe that's the plan, right? Things don't really come into existence if like you don't do them. That's sort of the same thing with like I just started writing a play. Um, and I can write the whole play maybe. I don't know. I've never written a play, but it's a good idea. And but like the play is not going to happen unless I go like get people to do the play, right? So so maybe it's the same idea. I should just start writing a video game, right? Hi, we are getting flooded. Like wherever you are, like there is flooding happening. And yet you are watching a Twitch stream. I mean, I really commend your dedication there, right? You're using the Godot engine, which is I really want to read that play, Waiting for Godot. I think I've read like about it, Waiting for Godot, and uh, I like love the idea of it, as a story and as a production. But I have not gotten around to reading that one yet. I know that's entirely different from the Godot game engine, but it's about like two people sitting by a tree, and the whole play is two actors, one prop, a tree, and they talk, and they're both waiting for Godot to show up, and Godot never does, and that's what the play is about. And they like talk about like existentialism and stuff or something. I really don't know because I've not read or seen the play. Maybe I can find a video of it online. That might be nice. That might be some good enrichment. Maybe I'll maybe I'll start like using my little sticky note to like remind myself of things that I need to recommend myself. Uh, how could you spoil me like that? So sorry, Alec, man. So sorry. Um, Man, but the way I do my reminders on this post-it note is when the post-it note fills up, I don't get to add any new reminders for myself until I finish the post-it note. And this one has been sitting here undone to send an email, of course. Um, that I need to do that, like literally today. Um, Not literally today, but I really need to send that email. Uh, don't worry, my father already spoiled me on the twist years ago. What a tragic thing. Obviously, it's been spoiled for me too. Scar kills Mufasa. Shit, man, I was gonna watch The Lion King today, and man, it's ruined. So I don't actually mind spoilers. I know everyone has different feelings about this, and some people are hyper vigilant about spoilers, but I don't mind them. You know, the actual consumption of the art is an experience that is separate, I think, from any like intellectualization about it. Also, I think Ray came in. Hi, Ray. I don't know if I said hi. Um, and it's a separate, thing. So like it doesn't really bother me. I'm like the art experience in its own is the art experience. One of my English teacher once said, "What happens at the end doesn't matter. It's what leads up to it." Yeah, and you can be given the whole outline of a story, right? Every single beat, and that doesn't tell you if it was a good movie or not, right? So so there's that. Oh, Ace, I've been watching a number of movies lately, and I know you're a movie person. But this is very exciting. I like movies, and I'm glad I've been watching more. But I watched Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro, I think. Look at that. I know the name of an actor. This is like big deal for me. Um, I thought that one was okay. I'm watching Taxi Driver tonight. No spoilers. For real. Actually, that's funny. You can mute yourself if because I feel like I want to start talking about Taxi Driver. No, I don't think I'll spoil it, but he's kind of a chud, right? I guess that's the idea, right? It sort of feels like an incel movie. He's not a chud, but he's kind of incel like, right? And it's fascinating in the way he's sort of redeemed, and I think it's very beautiful, like sort of the ending with like the camera panning over like the hotel room. There's a lot of really, I think, beautiful like cinematography in that film. It is really weird. And then I watched American Beauty, which I thought was absolutely excellent, and I really liked that movie, which is about a number of things, a number of different stories, but basically about an American family unraveling because of a father's midlife crisis and sort of also pedophilic desires. Um, Alt girl who doesn't get along with either of her parents, the mom cheating with a real estate agent, and uh, the neighbor who the girl falls in love with, whose dad is ex-military and like beats him and has like PTSD and has like repressed homosexual urges. Uh Really wonderful film. Really captures like the American spirit. Another server I was in was debating whether chuds or philosophers came first. The consensus was that they arose at the same time, for the Garden of Eden serpent was both philosopher and chud. Was Adam more chudded or more philosophic? That's I think that's the question I would want to debate. Is how we categorize Adam. Uh, I think he's probably more chudded, if I had to guess. I had a dream about cookies, I think, or maybe just saw an Instagram reel about it. I had a dream last night where I killed two people. Um, I was at a punk show with my band, and entirely separately from this, there was a whole big um, a bunch of ambulances and paramedics because a person living on the streets had I guess died or there'd been something happen outside the venue, so there was all this cordoned off whatever, um, and then uh, and then my lead singer got into an argument with two people, as they kind of tend to do. They've got a lot of ops, um, you know, just one of those people. Um, and then those two people were coming after the lead singer, and then I was like, okay, let's step out of the venue, lead singer. Let's not really fight these people. And then they came after me, and I'm like, okay, fuck you. And I was punching these people, and then for some reason we were on top of a parking garage and scuffling at the edge of it, and it was they were gonna throw me off or I was gonna throw them off the building. So then I throw two people off the parking garage. I thought that was pretty unethical. I wasn't very happy with that. So I guess that dream tells me that I dislike the murderous impulses that lie latent in my subconscious. But uh, maybe that I have some impulse to defend my friends. I'm not sure. Didn't really do any personal analysis of that dream. It didn't feel too meaningful, really. I think it's because I'm getting sick that I would dream a weird dream. There's a play I went to see once. It was Chekhov's The Seagull, but it was more of a meta theater piece because it was about this group of actors trying to perform Chekhov's Seagull, and the actress playing the mother is like, I used to play the young woman. What? Can't I play the young woman anymore? That's really kind of cool and clever. I feel like those kinds of things can work really well and they can also work really poorly. On the topic of spoilers, I think sometimes it's good to try to avoid them, since there are some moments that just hit harder if you don't know they'll happen. I do think that is true, uh, but there are just people who are don't you'll say oh, so in Taxi Driver he's driving a taxi, and they'll freak the fuck out, you know, and I'm like, it's in the name. Or it'll be so in Taxi Driver he meets this girl and they'll be like, stop right there. I'm like, dude, it happens at the start of the film, in Taxi Driver you have this guy who can't sleep because he has insomnia and he starts getting these headaches. I'm like, that's the start, and they'll but there are the people who are just so vigilant about it that kind of annoys me, admittedly, just socially. I'm like, I'm not doing this maliciously, but I think there is a social media thing there where people will be really frustrated because you'll just be scrolling on your feed and you'll get the ending spoiled for you. So I kind of understand that it's at any turn, someone can just spoil the ending. The opposite of I really need to read the Divine Comedy. Not that funny. What are you referring to? I mean, I know I've said I really need to read the Divine Comedy. Because it's called the Divine Comedy. It's not very funny. Right. You read this book, and there are no laughs. There are no laughs and gags, right? I suppose that's fair. Yeah, it is divine, right? So it gets a 50% grade on its title signaling things, and Inferno's Inferno, so that's 2 out of 3, and I don't remember what the other ones are called because I only have Inferno in front of me. Funny thing is, it used to just be called The Comedy. Yeah, that's even worse. That's just a 0%. It's a. I mean, I haven't read it. Maybe I'll find it funnier than you. Maybe you're just not on the same wavelength with Dante's humorous sort of proclivities. I need to blow my nose. I'm gonna bring like the Kleenex in here. I think because I'm like all congested. Doesn't really help that I didn't like really eat a meaningful breakfast either. I ate an apple. It was a great apple. I sat and really, at least for some of the apple, I think I ate about half the apple, and then I realized I was just eating it by rote. And then I sat and kind of really appreciated the flavor of the apple. I did the same thing last night with a bowl of Greek yogurt and blueberries and some cherries too separately. Um, like really like just reveling in the flavor because I was talking about that in the Discord call with Ray. Um, of like savoring food and really reveling experience even small things and like the combination just of the flavor of a blueberry and the taste of Greek yogurt is like it's like mind-blowingly good. Like I was like chills, you know. um Also ate some cherries, which were really good. Cherries are cool. I like fruit that requires some effort. You know, you like take the stem off, you eat it. You gotta like get rid of the pit at some point, and you have this choice: do I like bite the cherry in half, extract the pit, spit out the pit, and then finish the cherry, or do I try to eat the whole cherry with the pit still in my mouth? It's an interesting exercise. The open mics I'm planning to go to mean that I've been experimenting with my own writing more, developing my poetic voice. Nice, Ace. I've also been developing my poetic voice. I think it's an unending process for most of us. I think. Um, your insane breakfast is the most. Yeah, I know. I love breakfast. I love breakfast. I like man. I mostly have substantial breakfasts, but when my sleep gets messed up, my like impulse to eat well gets messed up, and then my energy and mood get messed up. It like sleep is really like the first domino that destroys my life and sends me back into a death spiral. Which is why I have to be very careful about the decisions of what 11 to midnight, you know, like Discord calls are worth having, are worth sacrificing my sleep for. I think last night was worth it. It was a very lovely call with Messier and Ray and Callie and Nano and Fire Riders. So it just depends. But yeah, now I'm like sitting here and I'm hungry. Hungry, sick, not a really good combination here, right? Um, I'm also considering the distinct possibility that the friend who fell out with might be there, which would be awkward. So yeah, you should read your most confessional, most direct poem about them with them in the room. Cause once you do that, nothing else will seem scary, right? Nothing else will phase you, because you'll look back on any other poem you're reading, and it's like, well, it's not like I'm reading the poem about the person who's in the room right now, uh, like that time. It'd just be a true trial by fire. That might be a bit much. That sounds terrifying for like also a sort of first open mic experience. You're not that cruel. Well, you know, yeah, that's fair. Depends on the poem, I guess. If it's mean and angry, it might be cruel. You don't want to make them feel bad. I agree with that. But the second you left the call, I jumped back into GTA, forgot I was driving, crashed into a gas station, and fucking died. That's awesome, Ray. That's why we don't drive tired. I'm still not used to your new stream times. Yeah, it's different. I am. I love my new stream times. They're really pleasant. I am a fan. A big fan. Uh Man, I who has poetry submitted to me? What's today's agenda? That's We're on the same brainwave, Brian. The agenda is I think I'll read a poem. I think I'll rally. I'll fight off this potential sickness, which may or may not be. I don't think it's like allergies. I don't really get allergies, and it's summer. Um, and I will read at least one poem. I haven't written poems for a while. I've been doing nothing but splurging out short stories for the Writers' Games. What is the Writers' Games competition? I've not heard of such an event. This sounds Olympiad-like. This sounds very Writers' Games 2026. Let's see. Nope, wrong one. Writers' Games. This is cute. I like the website. I like these icons are just nice. um, the Writers' Workout. You're just Brian Lockwood on there. You won. You won a competition. That's freaking awesome, Brian. That's super cool. Callie, you're just gonna keep measuring your weight. I mean, I don't think that's always the best thing to do. Wow. 20, yeah, Tempest. Oh, so there's just like all sorts of different things. That's cool. That's cool. Oh, so there's still like is it still going? Oh, probably not if they're announcing winners tomorrow. Registration closed. I see. Designed to help you improve your craft fast. That's cool. Several judges. You get feedback. You get feedback? That's awesome. Feedback is always great. They have a Discord. They have rules. Seems official. Seems freaking all sorts. And then they do an anthology, maybe, of the Writers' Games? This is super cool. Who? The Writers' Workout. Formed a love... Writers' Workout formed a love of competition and encouragement. We are writers from different backgrounds, ideas, influences, from authors published several times over to featured poets, new writers just starting out. Every writer approaches things differently, so we focus on the foundations. That's lovely. Yes, alphabetized. And alliterated. Alphabetized, alliterated. Back to basics. That's cool. And they have festivals, conference. Oh, that's cool. Oh, it's virtual. Well, that's less cool. But still good. Anthology, Writers' Games, Waywards. That's cool. Always feel free, everyone. If you're like, isn't this person a streamer? Coffee Quills? Right? Aren't they? Am I crazy? I don't know. Yeah, on Twitch. Yeah. I'm not stupid. Always feel free when things are happening. Workshops or competitions or things that y'all think other people might be interested in. Always feel free to share them in the Discord. Because I think one thing that's like very useful about the fact that we have a Discord server is that we, like, it can be really hard to sort through like all of these things happening. There's always competitions, there's always submissions, there's always workshops. And I think it can be a lot easier for people when someone who you're sort of familiar with goes like, hey, Like, this thing is happening, you know, maybe people want to pull up to it, right? It's that sort of invitation, that foot in the door, for people sometimes. So always feel free to use the Discord server to do that, right? We have like the resources channel, which is languishing, and that's okay, you know. But it can be good. It can be good. So the anthology of short stories has a dedication written by me. That's so sick. That's so sick, Brian. Coffee Quills is the streamer that first found me. I see. Gotcha. That's cool. That's cool. That's why I know it's legitimate. I see. And these anthos do accept. I see. Poems. Cool. Make our own competition. Yeah, we could. um, Top rankings go into an anthology of all stories written across the competition. Yeah, that's dope. It's very cool. Our last conversation had a very clear message of don't write about me, which is kind of difficult. You can't tell someone that. Which was kind of difficult to me because I would otherwise be able to poet. Yeah, I mean, so write about them. You know, you're an author. You're a writer. You get to write about whatever you want. Don't let anyone ever police the things you want to write about. But yeah, probably don't share it with them. That might piss them off more. You don't seem like someone who maybe wants to like just poke at someone to make them mad for fun. God damn it, yes, accept. Yeah, spelling is hard. Careful, or you'll end up in the novel. Is a T-shirt that exists. Yeah, yeah. I've seen others that are like, yes, you are in one of my novels, right? No, I would definitely do. I mean, like I've already done like a soliciting submissions from stream to make an anthology, right? So it's not unheard of to do another one of these at some point, on in the channel. It's also not unheard of to do like a competition separately, though I think the idea of a competition tends to be this like people submit and there's like a payout structure basically, which I don't have money to do that. So you can like have a submission fee, but like submission fees fucking suck because they restrict people's ability to submit. So that's why I think like an anthology is better because like I can do this, I can print it for like some amount of money, but not too much, with a friend who prints zines, and then I can pay people to contribute, but that is mostly covered by like then selling these. Because I think last year I think like well I think I've sold half of the zines. There's still half of these left, which is like 30. So I like broke even on it, which is good. Don't want to lose money, because that's not very helpful. So they'll either accuse you of burning the bridge or being sneaky. You can't win, so fucking write about them. Yeah. Oh, this girl who used to flirt with me told me not to dream about her because she has a boyfriend. And like, well, maybe if we didn't flirt, right? uh, yeah, our brain is still in high school. Heck with that. Write what you want. Yeah, yeah, write what you want. I like sort of different, but like, I mean, I was holding this up earlier, right? I just wrote a poem on a Bible, you know, like, and the Bible's not nearly as sacred as it used to be. But this would piss a lot of people off. Probably if I was like, yeah, I take your holy book and I write poems in it, and I intend to do the same with my Quran, right? Some people would revile at the idea of writing a poem on a tarot card. Um, it's my art, you know. I don't care. So that's yeah. Bumping previous statement I made. Also, here's the thing: no matter what you write, people who say "don't write about me" will dissect your work looking for your representation of them, even if more exists. Yeah, I feel like the kind of person who says "don't write about me" is the kind of person to cyberstalk everything you write, looking to see if you're writing about them. Right? Not always, but those things sound similar. Vandalizing the sacred tome. I know it's awful. My Amazon Bible I got for like $20 a few years ago. Horrible, horrible, horrible I am. I know. Really should have got like a used Bible. I don't know why I ordered one. Like, that money went to like some Christian publisher. Vandalizing the public use non-copyrighted material, right? Yeah, exactly. Like that band I Hate Kate that had to change their name because Kate was the ex of the vocalist. And in the second album with their new name, they added audio from her call going, "I'm suing your shitty band." That's dude. I love punk bands. I don't know if they're a punk band, but that sounds pretty punk. I love bands and all of that. Pretty sure the 70 years of copyright is long past. What do you mean? Jesus was American. The Bible was written in America, and the entire Earth is only a 100 years old, and they finished it like halfway through, so still in copyright. So deadpan, I missed it. Yeah, is copyrighted? No, no. Bible is not copyrighted. Copyright is a legal structure. Yeah, that the Bible predates. Also, that punk thing brings me back to Taking Back Sunday and Brand New Feud, which are two things that I'm not familiar with. I think also of the band Andrew Jackson Jihad, which they had to change their name to AJJ, um, because they were getting so much backlash from being called Andrew Jackson Jihad. Um, yeah. Also similar to the We Hate Kate or whatever, or I Hate Kate. There's a band called Better Than Ezra, I think, which is a good name. There's some Ezra who they are better than, and I think that's a good way to name a band. You're hungry and you haven't had any food? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, Callie. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I at least ate something. Okay, which of you have sent me things? And which of you have sent me things and like I haven't read any of your stuff in a while? Cause I would like to try to read something today. I really think I'm only gonna read like one piece, but One Piece? Um Although starting to get a little less congested. You called dibs. That's crazy. I haven't been here in a while, and has stated have no poems. Yeah, yeah. What's up, Astrid Starry? Hello, welcome. How are you? We're about to dive into some reading of some writing or poetry or something. I don't recall if you've submitted anything for me to read, uh, but no, I don't think you have. But if you want to, now would be a great time to cut the line. You don't really write poems. When I say poems, I usually just mean uh, um, writing. I know I say poems, but I just mean writing in general. I know you submitted something recently, right? What? Some chapter or short story? We could read that. I don't need to go through 1,000+ episodes to get one piece. I at least like 50. That's true. That's true. Maybe that would make it more appealing if it was 50 piece or 10 piece. 10-piece chicken nugget? Yeah. Hello, Messier. Welcome in. The other half, or the other third of the conspiracy against my sleep schedule. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, okay, we can read what's whatever you submitted. I'm down for that. Yeah, prose is kind of chill. Prose is a lot of reading. It's all my fault? No, I explicitly said it's not all your fault, Callie. Definitely not. I'm great. I'm just writing, particularly working on a pitch Bible. What is a pitch Bible? I know you probably don't know much about scripts, but would it be okay if when I get a section done, I can submit it? Yes, you absolutely can submit a section of a script. I think that's awesome, and I would love to read scripts because I just started trying to write a play, and I know nothing about scripts and that kind of stuff, and that's like bad if I'm trying to write a thing and have no knowledge. So yes. Okay, After the Fall by what? This is the second version of a story that I started when I got back into writing last November. The first version strayed too far from what I envisioned. There's some errors that need to be fixed. That's fine. I'm trying to get this story out in this rough draft. After the Fall is a historical fiction set during Prohibition. Badass. Jackson is a returning World War I veteran who feels like he's gone nowhere, and he's back in the city that he joined the military to escape. Fun. That's cool. I mean, it doesn't sound very fun to be back in the city you tried to escape. This is quite long, but I will screenshot some of it, and we'll get through as much of it as is that we get through. Oh, that's such a poorly constructed sentence. I'm referring to my speaking, not any of your sentences. Do you have any questions or things you would like me to focus on as I read this story? Are there any ideas, things you feel, uncertain or unsteady about in your writing? Are there any, ideas that you would like for me to focus on? That is all on the table. Okay, I took a bunch of screenshots of this. Should be enough. We're probably going to read like half of it. Just so you know. It is July 24th today. July 24th. Does the plot seem more of a romance rather than a historical crime story? Okay, that's a good question. Like, how does it feel genre-wise as we read it? What does it feel like it's giving? That's a good question. I don't think anyone has asked a question like that before. A pitch Bible is something in the TV and film industry. It's your pitch for whatever series or film you're bringing to a director or studio. Usually has the log line, which is a short introduction, and like this is what the series is about. And then it has some details and characters, and if it's a series, a synopsis of what an average episode would be like, so that the studio can kind of get a grasp of what the series is about. That's really cool. And are you just writing are you writing this as practice, or do you intend to actually pitch it? If either way, that's badass. Imogen, we should talk. I went to college to write theater. I guess we should talk. Yeah, that'd be cool. You wanted to write novels, but found out you were better at theater. Okay. Okay, let's bring the camera over. Let's dive into this. Let's dive into After the Fall. by. This is a great, beautiful black screen. Oh, yeah, now I feel hungry. It's like I didn't eat, now I'm hungry. That's freaking crazy. For serious, name a time, and we can talk about it. Okay, that's badass. That's dope. I would love that. If I ever do want to be published, this is probably one of the ones I'd try for. Okay, gotcha. Good to know. I'm mainly doing it as practice, but if an opportunity arises where I actually get to pitch my series, then I would use it as such. I'm also working on a pilot episode script, which would probably be what I would submit to you as I'm working on it. Okay, cool. That's awesome. That's something I've never read. I've never read a TV or movie script. So that would be really exciting for me because I love shiny new things. Okay. Oh, that's actually the first word. Okay. Today is October 14th, 1994. Interesting. A little we're starting in the future. Starting in the future if this is Prohibition, right? My name is Tobias Hart of the Brookridge Gazette, and I'm here with Jackson Mackey. Mr. Mackey, is it true that you and your associates ran one of the biggest black criminal enterprises during the 20s? Young man, ran is an understatement. I was nothing more than just an intermediate between organizers. The biggest was Sugar Sly Wilcox before he passed in 22. He was shot by his mistress, if I recall. I did some smuggling for him a couple of times, but he wasn't much for cash. If you wanted the big bucks, the Italians were your guys. So what led you to smuggling? Tobias asked. The war. Jackson answered. You almost don't need Jackson answered here, you know. We know it's Jackson. That's like a random little gripe. This is kind of cool, right? You could slap prologue on this, right? And it's genuinely just like a very short conversation, right? And then like next page. I think that's dope. We need more short prologues in the world. I think prologues can be long, but this just says it, right? I was smuggling because the war. Bam, you know, and then we jump back. I think that's cool. I wonder if we will, if we'll jump back and forth between 1994, right, and 1918. Does that mean this guy's like 100 years old in 94? It probably is, right? That's crazy. It's clear it's a convo between two people, radio show style. Yeah, or police interview or whatever. So I think, interview for the journalist. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. I ended up cutting a character because their subplot dragged the story a little bit. That's good. It's hard to cut our characters, but it's good to do so and realize that something is detracting from our work and make that choice. Okay, December 10th, 1918. There I was, back home in the city, that I went to great lengths to escape. The snow had already filled the streets, and winter's cold embrace grasped you tightly with every gust. The port glistened and roared with the various ships that were coming in. The rocky metal coffin the army put me on felt like paper in a stream as it pulled in. The boys cheered. We were back in the States. Most of them didn't see any combat, but they fought their own battles. Most of the combat units were already home, and I was late. I spent nearly 2 months in a London hospital, recovering, and to be honest, I miss it. The peacefulness, the clean air, You're home, son. Smile. Be happy, an older man said. I am, sir. I just got a lot on my mind. That's all, I said. I gathered my things and headed home. I only lived a few blocks away from the docks, so the cold wouldn't eat me alive for too long. It didn't take me long to notice that not much had changed about my neighborhood in the year that I've been away. The kids still played in the same alleyways. The stores were still all there, even down to the rickety newspaper stand. The house that I grew up in was still the same. The paint on the door still had the same chipped spot. The rail still squeaks when you put your hand on it. I walked up the stairs and gave a firm knock on the door. So, right, I like that our first line, I think first lines are very important, and the prologue doesn't count. First lines are very important, right? And we have, there I was, back home in the city, that I went great lengths to escape. And I think that's nice, right? Because a first line sometimes can really establish the tone of like an entire book, right? It's the first thing a reader reads, and if it doesn't, if it's not doing work, it's a problem. And I think you're setting up this theme that we then go to kind of explore in some of this paragraph is when we start to see it, right? The neighborhood is the same, the door is the same, the rickety newspaper stand is the same, the rail still squeaks, right? And going into this idea of the sameness of everything, right? He likes the clean air of the hospital. Maybe that means that the dirty air of the city is the same. I'd love to see you like really, you know, just dig in descriptively to all this of how samey it is and how, maybe we don't need to dive super deep into the psyche of how like maybe unsettling that is. But I think it is a good theme that we're exploring. The door slowly crept open before swinging back. With a strong force, I was yanked into the house, into a tight hug from my twin sister. "You're finally home, Jackson. Ma, Jackson is home," Jasmine said through her tears. "Easy on the squeezing, Jazz. I'm still sore," I said. From around the corner came a shriek. My baby is home," Ma cried out before running over and hugging me. "You arrived just in time for breakfast. It's almost done. My baby is home. Thank you, Jesus," Ma yelled as she hurried off to the kitchen. "So, what did you do over there in France?" Jasmine asked. "Nothing really." "Nothing really? Come on. You don't have to lie to your big sister. Something interesting had to happen," she said. "Big? Since when were you older?" I asked. "Since the 3 minutes that I came out before you," she said with a smirk. "Ma, please tell Jasmine that I'm the one that's older," I said. "Does it really matter who was first? You're both 20. And come on, breakfast is ready," Ma said. I think the dialogue is nice, right? We have this sort of brother sister banter, very familiar, whatever. I like a lot of your descriptions at the start. Kind of the rocky metal coffin and some of the stuff of the neighborhood. I think working some of this, right, as we fling open the door and we see these characters, right, it can be important to like establish some things about where we are. And maybe this is a chance to say that, Jasmine looks the same and the smell of the house is the same. Maybe there's an unfamiliarity to that, though. It's like we've been away for a time, but it all comes rushing back. The smell of breakfast cooking is the same, right? Jasmine's hair is the same. Ma doesn't really look any different. And that can also, right, what that can do is it can let us characterize these people during this sort of action that is dialogue that's moving us along. We can kind of flesh out, maybe we can flesh out like the it could be appearance of things, right? It could be, all of that, whatever. Math. Interview in 1994. Person is 20 in 1918. Main character is 96 years old in the interview. That's cool. So he lives a long time. Yeah, but I think, having siblings an older sibling and a younger sibling. I think, this sort of automatic, so what did you do over there, right? And then this sort of argument that immediately starts. I think that's good, and that certainly doesn't go away, even when you sort of become an adult, which 20 arguably is. We celebrated the entire day with Ma, cooking an extravagant dinner for me. She baked me my favorite 11-pound cake and even went through the trouble of putting icing on it. I like that detail. The trouble of putting icing on it. Jasmine sang while I played Pop's piano like we used to. Ma managed to join in on one of the songs while the food was cooking. I played at least 5 songs before my hands started cramping. I think we haven't done anything like this since before my dad died. It made my home feel warmer, a warmth I missed. Later that night, I found myself some alone time, or at least I thought. Jackson, are you awake? Jasmine asked. Yeah. Can you tell me what really happened over there? You don't have to tell everything, and don't worry about Ma. She's asleep. What about you, Jazz? What have you been doing for a year? Don't dodge my... Fine. That's how you want to play it. I'll answer, but you're telling me something. Lena got me a job at her aunt's store, and I've been singing at Wilma's Lounge every other Thursday. You've been what? Jackson shouted. Shh. You'll wake Ma up with that big mouth. Sly heard me singing at church and offered me a part-time gig. Pays me $15 a song, Jasmine said excitedly. Isn't that like big money? It's not like absurd amount of money in like 1918, right, per song. I don't know how often she's singing songs, but every other Thursday she'd be singing a few songs, right? That's like massive. Yes. Okay. How relevant is the present? I.e., why place it in 1994? Is there a significance to that? Just a question in your pocket. Listen to Lotus for now. Yeah, I think I actually was sort of thinking about saying something like that, right? We set up the idea, right, that there's going to be smuggling and there's going to be crime and there's going to be like this kind of stuff. And then we jump back to a very mundane thing. And I think that's like there's a clever move here that happens, right? Because we sort of like plant a seed in the reader's mind that maybe creates some tension, right? And by showing a very like, normal life, coming back home, mother and the mother and the sister, we're sort of left to ask like, man, this is gonna like take a turn for the worse or whatever. I just hope it's interesting because we have to like pace out the fact of like showing this normal life and keeping it interesting and keeping tension, right? And we don't always have to have tension, but I think a start of a book benefits from tension, and having some real something pushing, right? And it can be difficult because like there is this showing of the mundane life, right? And mundanity tends not have big tensions, but we can make tensions bigger than they are, right? We can have like this conversation become like a sort of a narratively tense thing. Not that the characters have to be tense. There can be great tension in the coming home and the feeling of all the things being the same. I invite you to. I like to think about tension in writing and how that functions a lot. But I think that the writing is good. Like it reads through and it reads nicely, and the story is happening, right? He does more than just own a club. Yeah, I do. That's why I take my payment before doing my set and I leave right after. Lena gave me the same warning, you know. Ah, tension. She tried to move the conversation to something else. Something else, and I fell for it. So, someone else, and I fell for it. So, how's Lena these days? I asked. Jasmine's ears perked up and a sneaky grin perched on her face. She missed you dearly. She missed you dearly. She panicked every time news from war came in. Jasmine's eyes shifted down and her face saddened. Jackson, I don't know if you know, but earlier this year you were listed as missing in action in the paper. We feared the worst. Lena became quiet and withdrawn. Miss Wu told me she would cry and holler out your name at night. Ma would cry herself to sleep every night. She would barely eat. Losing Dad hurt her deeply. But she still had us. The thought of losing you too almost broke her entirely, Jasmine said with tears in her eyes. Interesting. So we have this detail very clearly that like something happened, right? Something happened to him, I would say, that like, you know, to be listed as missing in action, to have all this stuff. So I wonder if earlier, when she's like, you know, you don't have to lie to your big sister, I wonder if there can be like a stronger implication of her like skepticism, right? Because I feel like if all of that happened and like his being in the war caused all this ruckus, she'd be like, what happened over there, you know? Maybe there'd be more of this, a skeptical thing. But I guess maybe that's somewhat what this conversation is. But maybe there, I don't know. I feel like there is some interpersonal tension here, that can maybe be like leaned into or something. I see why she was so persistent about the war. Jazz, trying to understand this quotation mark. So this is a thought. I see why she was so persistent about the war. Jazz. See, I feel like she wasn't very persistent, though. You know, like at the start, she wasn't very persistent, and then here she comes, and that is like a degree of persistence. But I'd love to see more of that, like her wanting him resisting, her wanting him resisting, and then it's creating something that's like driving us forward. It's like, you know, why does she like really so invested in knowing this if he keeps brushing it off, and then she drops this and it's like, oh shit, and then it's like, oh, I see why she was so persistent, right? I think we can like, this is like the core tension at the beginning in this scene that is causing characters to sort of struggle against each other, right? And I think that is something we can lean into. Oh, Alekman, you redeemed a dream analysis. I can do it after we're done with this piece. I usually try not to do the like the improvised poetry or the dream analysis. Yeah, we can do it later. Sure. Just remind me so I don't forget. Jazz, I see why the war bothers you, but I was fine. Command had a mix-up. The French officers' letters didn't always translate well. I could probably blame Claude for that. You would have liked the guys in my unit. They were some characters. I pulled her in for a tight hug. Jasmine is good at fixing other people's problems, but she doesn't often let her own emotions show. I think I haven't cried this much since Daddy's funeral. Good night, little brother, Jasmine said as she wiped tears from her eyes. I feel like there's a part of me as a reader that like doesn't trust him, and maybe it's because there's like just maybe not enough of him realizing, oh, this is why it was a thing, and like really like leaning into that conversation. Like I think this sort of tension between the two of them, as I've been saying, is the most interesting thing that's kind of happening here, right? And so if we can like build the details of this story around that, and I mean, he was in a hospital, right? Yeah, so I think he's unreliable, right? Is sort of how it feels to me. Um, but then I think like leaning into that fact and maybe some of his own thoughts, because we do have his like I was sort of removed looking at his own thoughts, and maybe we get some of his perspective on like what he thinks of these things he's actually saying. Um, you know, just a more of these details I think would be nice. Because that's what's most centrally interesting, right? Dalton didn't have that many opportunities for a black man. You either worked at the port or in some factory. My father worked tirelessly for 20 years at the docks before he passed. For me, following in his footsteps was the worst thing that could happen. After 3 weeks, I found myself at rock bottom working at the docks. One of Dad's friends, Fred, helped me get the job. I would offload the cargo from the ships that would come in. Some of those crates would have logos that I was too familiar with. The Black Lotus Tong would mark boxes like Pai Gao tiles. The leader was a hero in the leader was a hero in Chinatown known as Uncle Fan. He was Lena's actual uncle and Miss Wu's younger brother. I don't know what happened between them, but Miss Wu rarely involved herself with her brother. At least that's what Lena told me. Back then, I would sometimes be afraid of what he'd do if he found out that I was dating his niece. I think I like this use of like offloading the cargo, right? Is a as a way to like transition into giving exposition about these characters, right? I think um I think that's nice, right? I think you drop all of this a little bit quickly, right? It's like, oh, okay, whoa, Pai Gao tiles, okay, their leader, okay, Uncle Fan, okay, wait, Lena's uncle, Miss Wu, okay, like drawing all these connections, and I feel like all of that gets dropped very quickly. It's a good way to bring in the details, right? He gets this job, um, he gets this job, he um, uh, starts working at it for a while, works for a few weeks, uh, and then this thing happens, right? Um, and I think maybe zooming into like a day at the docks might help, right? Like Brian is saying, like making sure it feels like a different day or whatever. If we zoom into a particular day, 3 weeks from now at the docks, where he's unloading one of these crates, I think that might help like place this in sort of what Brian is saying. But that's just a thought. I think it's a good idea to use this, and it shows maybe like just working this traditional dead end kind of job. The thing that killed his father would be very, you know, the worst thing that can happen, right? Uh, and I mean, working at the docks, this is obviously like making us, coming back to that seed in our mind, like, oh, docks, cargo. We were talking about smuggling, so things are starting to come together in some way, right? There's one, but it's a little lower. I see the day label. Yeah, down here. Oh yeah, so you do have these like, here is the date. So I'd say, yeah, if this is the case, then we'd want to, as soon as we change to a new setting, right, to a new idea, we'd like do February 12th. I think that would, yeah, be better in this spot, right? And then it's like, okay, well now we're talking about this thing in the future, and then we get the actual day. And I wonder even if like we go into the actual day and then these sort of details get sprinkled into the narrative itself, right? But I don't know what this is up here. The dogs were the only place in the city that had real peace between the criminal organizations. A few guys there were on someone's payroll. Crates would come in. and in an hour they would be loaded in the back of the truck. One time I asked Fred about it. He only said, "We don't get paid enough to know where every shipment goes." I guess that was his way of telling me to mind my business. I did mind my business for a while, until that day. Yeah, see, I'd almost like to jump to that day, you know, um, and 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 just go into like the docs, and we understand like now he has a job, and then as we're like going through this, we sort of like build in this background and these ideas, and then like showing some of these things, right? Um, could be a smoother way, perhaps. Yeah, sprinkle it in, and any time you can get characters to talk about these details in dialogue. It's always more immediate and better than info dumping. Yeah, most of the time. Your formatting needs to stay consistent. Anytime you do a significant jump, put the day label. Helps guide the readers in your timeline. I think I would agree with what author Brian Liu is saying, right? If we're setting up the idea of day labels, which I do like them, I like them in books. I think they're a nice kind of just easy shorthand to like tell your reader when we are, where we are. Uh, yeah, just consistency. Consistency is always something that's useful as a writer. Uh, yeah. The day was slow for once. Another snowstorm had hit Dalton, causing an ice buildup near the dock, making it hard for ships to come in. We sat there smoking and playing cards while we waited for work to come in. All right, all right, all right. Bet started a nickel. You boys ready? Carter said. Ready to take Fred's money, James said. You got lucky last time. Jackson, you playing? Fred asked. So, right, we're just like dropping names. Carter said, James said, Fred said. And I think like when we're introducing these characters, it's a good time to drop details. You know, give a little bit about Carter, give a little bit about James, give a little bit about Fred, or you know, as we're saying that we sat there smoking and playing, you can talk about maybe how we are sitting, right? And then you can say that Carter, you know, like a sort of massive man with you know, wide frame, big muscles, labor, kind of standing in the middle of the crates, you know, rallying everyone. All right, all right, all right. Bets start at a nickel. James sort of nonchalantly leaning back against the crate, you know, cigarette dangling from his fingers. You know, characterizes him, ready to take Fred's money, right? You got lucky last time. Jackson, you playing? You know, maybe Fred is kind of I don't know who would say you got lucky last time. Kind of, he's more of a wide-eyed. He's younger. Maybe he's kind of the butt of the joke sometimes, right? And then why not? I could use the lunch money, and I like this. This is a confidence, right? That he'll also win some money. So, you know, and already the way we're talking, right, is telling us about these characters, right? Ready to take Fred's money. I could use the lunch money. There's a confidence in these two. There's sort of like a leadershipness in Carter, and then there's like a butt of the joke that maybe Fred is. But I think, you know, we could do more, right? And set it within a place in a world. It's actually a really tough dilemma. Do you slow down the dialogue in a moment you want to move quickly and describe people, or do you name drop and then describe all as one atmosphere paragraph later, or even before? This is a difficult problem with scenes with lots of characters. Yeah, and I think something must be done about it, and maybe something happens later, but it seems like okay, like later, right? We have Claude, that fast talking cheat. Um, Oh wait, that's actually not characterizing. That's Claude from the war. So I don't think we're necessarily like really characterizing any of these people for a while. Not really like fleshing out them as people. Yeah, and the speed of the dialogue is good, right? And oh, what did I just do? Did I accidentally pin a message? Oh, I accidentally clicked and pinned a message. Like the speed of the dialogue, dropping names, and that doesn't bother me. However, Lotus is right. At some point, you have to describe these people. Yeah. Even if it's one detail, the bald guy. Right. Yeah. Just giving the reader something to see. The senses, right? We're getting sound, we're getting hearing, we're getting the banter in our ears, and we want to get, our eyes of who these people are, and, I mean, depending on how far we want to go with it, with the sort of five senses, right? There's other things as well, right? The feeling of the cold and the smell of the sea and whatever. I'd either take a moment before the dialogue begins to establish the scene, or do your dialogue back and forth. Yeah, like do some dialogue, give some description, once it, just enough that it doesn't feel like it's slow, jump into some dialogue, or front load it. I think those are both good choices. And you already have this sort of like front loading paragraph, so we could just build it out a little bit more, right? Like, describing how they're sitting, where they're at, that kind of thing. James let out a hearty laugh. You sound like your daddy before I cleaned him out. Hey, Carter, deal me in two. Boy, it's cold out there. Foreman just had us offloading some trolley that could barely start in this cold, Benny said. And I wonder if, like, part of this, I wonder if we can introduce the character who's talking at the start of the dialogue. Just because it's like someone, right, James let out a hearty laugh, and then we know that this is a new guy. Because then I'm like, A, Carter, deal me in two, and I'm like, oh wait, there's someone else who I have no context of, right? And that would also help, because then I'm like, oh wait, who is this? What's going on? Oh, it's Benny. It's someone who I haven't met yet, right? Yeah, like as cards are dealt, each player at the table describe how they look. I would definitely that's one way to do it, right? It would give us like an intimate look at each character and some of our narrator's thoughts on them. But yeah, like Brian says, right? We want to keep the snappiness of the dialogue too. But as we're looking at their face, right? They can be talking, they can be saying something, they can be dropping their bit of narrative, a contribution. No right answer to this. This one, in my opinions, yeah. Personally, I think it would do a disservice to the back and forth dialogue if you take a moment after every he said to give a descriptive detail. I agree with that, yeah. So it's... Dialogue's hard, because you can write, like, I think your dialogue itself is nice. I think it feels, like, fun and bantery and pretty natural. But then, like... and I think if this was on a stage... And if there were a number of actors and I could see everything and had the shorthand of like, or if it was on a movie screen, right? And I could see them all, it'd be great because the dialogue just snaps and snaps and snaps. But as writers, right, we don't have the movie screen. We don't have the play production. So we need to find other answers to that, which is one of the big difficulties in prose or in dialogue. I guess dialogue like almost technically is in prose. It's almost a different form. Anyway, we're going to take a little break. We will come back and keep reading this one. But I'm definitely going to get a snack to alleviate my breakfastlessness. And then we'll come back in a few minutes. And I would encourage you all to, if you are able to stand up and move, to drink some water, to get a snack, to do something good for you. Mostly to just stop looking at the screen and move your body are the best two things you can do. And we'll be back soon. Hello. Welcome back. Hunger has been alleviated until the next ad break. Would I be willing to do the dream analysis before getting back into the reading? I think I want to go back into the reading. Brian had lots of things to say. Hopefully those are helpful. I'm not going to read through all of them. And it's fine you like getting advice. That's good. That is good. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing the reading. Fair, I just want to ask. Yeah, soft reminder. That's totally fine. I get it. Okay. Let's keep going. I fold, I said. Already? Benny said, surprised. Yeah, bad first hand. Something I picked up from the war is how to count cards. Claude, that fast-talking cheat, taught me how to after cleaning me out of my rations. It was so cold that Carter couldn't deal as fast, so it made it easier to count them. Looky here. If it ain't a pair with them lucky sevens, James said. If I was right, I'd have a 10, a 2, a queen, an 8, and an ace. As the cards were dealt, I noticed that I was off by one card. Everything went perfect, but instead of 8, I got a jack. Is that how counting cards works? I don't know anything about counting cards. Now I can only discard the 2 and hope for the shuffle deck to go my way. I don't know how counting cards works. But I feel like just making sure that if you are writing counting card, yeah, I thought it's for blackjack. But whatever you do, I think as a writer, it's important to have like a rough idea of how the thing works, right? So that you write it at least somewhat, truthfully. But I don't know. Like this, almost like knowing exactly what cards are in your hand to me sounds almost like marked cards or sleight of hand or manipulating the deck. Which is, it's fine if that's what Claude taught him to do, to cheat. But yeah, definitely. And that would definitely tell you something about him if he's cheating or if it's some genuine strategy. You can do it in poker, but it's a lot harder. I see. Like, I know you can, like understanding the hand and the whatever the cards are in the middle, you can have a better idea of probabilities of what are in other people's hands, right? And it's probabilities. Yeah, but I don't know anything about counting cards, so just make sure that you know what you're talking about. Just my luck. A 3. I fold, I said. It's not your day today, kid, Fred said. Danny, Jackson, Earl, I need you 3 to come offload this coaster that just came in, the foreman commanded. Cold air whipped across our faces the moment we opened the side door of the warehouse. Thankfully, the cargo that we had to offload was located in the cargo hold. Would it be located somewhere? Oh, it could be on the deck, I guess. On the top of the ship. The crates on this boat must have weighed a lot. It took 2 of us pushing it to slide it. You guys hear that? Earl asked. Hear what? Danny asked. A low, grumbling snore filled the cargo hold. I peered behind one of the crates to see a man with brownish hair slumped over in the corner with 2 empty bottles next to him. He seemed familiar, but I couldn't get a good look at his face. Hey, pal. Wake up. Wake up, I said. Jackson, stop kicking me, the man murmured. How the hell does he know my name? I thought. The man shifted his body in the corner, giving me a good look at his face. To my surprise, it was Harry, the British pilot I met at the hospital in London. Harry, wake up, I said. Stop kicking me before I tell the... Jackson? What the bloody hell are you doing here? I'm not doing British accent, but he asked. I'm from here. Remember? I said, hugging Harry. You're working at the docks now? A job like this isn't fit for someone of your caliber. Why not work for me? Better yet, work with me, Jackson, Harry said. Work with you in what? I questioned. The exporting business. I'll handle the side across the pond, and you'll handle the American side. I wonder if they'd be, like, having this conversation, like, in front of the other ones. Like, hey, join me in international smuggling, you know? I feel like it's a bit of, like, moving too fast, maybe. Um, like, I don't know. But, I mean, it's kind of fun that he just appears in the boat. I think that's a good way to just advance the story. Whenever you have internal thoughts of a character, never use quotes. Right. Yeah. Just put it in italics. I don't like internal thoughts in italics personally. But it's a very common thing, so that makes me sort of a minority. But yeah, definitely whatever quotation mark is should pretty much always be the same thing. I have seen people do quotation marks for both internal thoughts and conversation. The authors just make it very clear through the surrounding prose, whether it is spoken or whether it is thought. And I actually don't mind it, as long as it's signaled clearly, right? You just don't want to confuse your reader ever. You think we need a beat where this person sizes him up, then approaches him for the business deal at a future time? Well, it's more that, like, it's almost as if the other two dock workers have just vanished. And now we're talking about, we're just, like, having this conversation, right? And it just doesn't feel like the conversation that you'd have, like, just in front of two random strangers, given the nature of the work. And it's just very, like, I mean, he says, I guess he's vague enough. Maybe the exporting business, right? It's not like he's saying we're smuggling. It's not like he's so I think it might actually be okay, because we are gonna have a meeting later. It looks like I have to meet with some clients, Jack. I'm here for a week, so take your time. When you come to a decision, let me know. I'm staying at the Brandel Hotel, and these guys know each other, right? So it's called for to sort of just jump into the conversation. Okay, I don't think it's so bad. Good seeing you, old chap, Harry said, patting Jackson on the shoulder. The export business is what he's calling it now. He must have forgotten that he told me he's a smuggler. Hey, Jackson, now that your friend is gone, mind helping us out, Earl said. We moved the crates and headed back to the warehouse. Harry's offer sounded tempting to me. I wouldn't be at this dead-end job. The only thing is, I'm going to be dealing with people I shouldn't be knowing. The only reason I ever met Harry was because he had a deal go wrong. Due to the snow, I'm like bad at reading today. Due to the snow, not so many ships are coming in, so half of you are being sent home. So if I say your name, you're going home. As he rattled off the list of names, I stood lost in thought, pondering the question that I've been asking myself since I got home. What do I do now? I felt an elbow hit me in the arm. Jackson, they're sending you home, kid. I gathered my things and started my walk home. The snow had finally begun to ease up, and the wind still blew strong from time to time. As I trudged through the snow, I eventually found myself standing outside of Miss Wu's general store. The store reminded me of what I would have to lose if something goes wrong. Ma and Jazz would be devastated by losing me. They already did once, and doing that to them again, I just don't know. And Lena, my biggest mistake. I did the right thing by her. Hurts that she never gave up hope while I was gone. You can't stand in front of the store like that, Jackson. You're scaring off customers, Jasmine said with her hands on her hip. My bad. I was lost in thought. While they're unloading stuff is a good moment for the smuggler to size up his potential employee. That's interesting, yeah. This moment right here is a better moment for the smuggler to approach him. He's heading home. Perfect time to have a private conversation. Yeah, I tend to agree. Come inside so we both don't turn into ice cubes out here. I felt like being at home again inside her store. The memories of me, Jazz, and Lena running and playing throughout the store. Miss Wu would sit behind the counter with her newspaper and either coffee or tea. Miss Wu, look who I found stranded in the snow, Jasmine said. She looked up from her newspaper and said something in Chinese before coming over. Jackson, how have you been? You've gotten taller, I see. I'm glad you're home. There's someone else who would be glad to see you again. I feel like he's been home for like 3 months now, right? Would it take that long? I guess it seems to me that this is sort of like close family friend. They grew up together. This girl Lena, right, was like in love with him, and maybe he was in love with her. So to think of like the word getting around town that he's home, and like these people haven't talked to him, I wonder about that. You know, maybe they're not as close as maybe as close as I read it. But it reads as them being like very close kind of family friends. So yeah. You knew? I said, surprised. Knew? I have eyes and ears, boy. Every time you two were in here, it would be some awkwardness before it became official. And then you both became an eager young couple. Almost too eager. The room in the attic isn't as quiet as you two thought it was, Miss Wu said. You didn't have a problem with us dating? I asked. I'd hoped you'd marry her before you left for boot camp. You know she still wears that necklace you gave her, Miss Wu said, sitting back down behind the counter. Oh, tell her hi for me. I'm gonna get going now. It was great seeing you, Miss Wu. He's been avoiding this store, so he hasn't seen it. I may need to add something to specify it. Yeah. If you don't put it on the page, then we don't know that he has been avoiding it, and it definitely makes sense, right, to me that he has been. I think that is a lovely explanation for not having interacted for 3 months, and then it's just sort of on this unexpected aimless walk home that he ends up there. Yeah, I like that. Unbeknownst to me at the time, around the corner stood Lena, twiddling the necklace, watching me leave her aunt's store. Gathering the courage she needed, Lena bolted after me, yelling, Sir, you forgot your hat. Lena was doing her best to not draw any unnecessary attention as I was almost toward my side of town. I stopped to allow her to catch up to me. I turned around to see her running through the snow with her big coat. She grasped my hand, and as I took the glove she grasped my hand as I took the glove that she had pretended to be a hat. I'm glad no one was looking at the predicament she had put us in. I took one last to look me I took one last look to make sure the coast was clear and pulled her into an alleyway for a private conversation. Lena, before I could say anything, Lena leapt up into my arms, kissing me. Ew, spouted a little girl as she stopped noticing us. Go home, girl. After all these years of secrecy, we're outed by a child, I said, as both of us began to laugh. As the laughs faded, Lena stood there with a somber look on her face. Jackson, why did you believe you wouldn't come home? Why give up hope give up hope for a life for us? She questioned. This section was copied and pasted from the first version, so it looks off from everything else. I see. Lena, I only wanted to protect you from what could have happened. I never lost faith in making it back. But I know that the fallout of losing the person you love to war looks like. As for us, I need some time to figure things out. She wanted to push farther, but she didn't want to force an answer that she didn't want to hear. The only thing she did was hug me and give me a kiss goodbye. We just went our separate ways after that. Okay, we just went our separate ways after that. Maybe that's a good place to stop. Maybe, I think. So yeah, I think something important maybe to think about as you keep writing is being very solid in kind of the idea of like your timeline, right? I think this is sometimes a way I think about writing. And you can even like draw out a literal timeline or type out a timeline, right? And making sure, to think about chronologically, when things are happening and how they are happening, and making sure that the sort of progression of the story and the events are happening in a natural way. And when something happens unnaturally, right? For example, like not seeing Lena for 3 months. That's something that you then need to justify, right? And understanding that skipping 3 months has implications. Like, you should probably have an idea as a writer. You don't need to write it out. You don't need to be certain. But if we skip a bunch of months, right here, we should have an idea of what was happening. And just having this sort of like background certainty, right? Some people talk about, like, this is almost world building in a way, right? And people talk about the iceberg as the metaphor for world building, where, you have a little bit of the ice sticking out of the top of the water, and you have a bunch of it that's below. And like, this is the knowledge that the author has, right? And this is what the reader gets to see. And it's not that you need to follow it in this way, or that this is sort of a rule that you must know more. But oftentimes the details surrounding the story, surrounding what is shown, are what let you write this in a way that seems logical and consistent and like unfolds naturally, right? And when you look at your own story in this way and say, well, there's a big jump here. What has happened? What do the characters know during this time that the reader doesn't? And how do I get that information to my reader? How do I get the information to the reader that Jackson, is his name Jackson, has been avoiding, right? Lena and Mrs. Wu. How do I communicate this in a way that's good? And that will probably just help you generally going forward. And there's practicing the very difficult thing of dialogue. I would say if you have any books that you've read, right, that you enjoyed the dialogue, or you remember interactions with characters that you found like it worked in a way that you liked, you can definitely go back and just read, right? Read as an author rather than read as a reader, and look at a bit of dialogue and say, find a piece of dialogue that is good, right? And then you ask yourself, I really like this passage, I really like this interaction, and you just ask why, right? What is the author doing on the page? How are they constructing dialogue that feels smooth, that feels like it moves but also has details? And read with an eye of like looking out for these things. And I think that will also always help. I think most writers read, but I don't think most writers read as writers. Like, a lot of writers read as readers. And that can be sort of to the detriment of the writer, uh, because then it's just sort of a passive consumption. And I think that's probably the quickest way. Like, I don't really know how to write good dialogue or how to make dialogue work. Um, but I do know that there are a million authors out there who write really good dialogue. And the fastest way to understand it is probably just to look at it and think about it and pick it apart, uh, and find dialogue similar to what you want to write. Now, you don't want to copy, the way that they're writing dialogue, and honestly, you can't because you're writing your own story and you have different characters and whatever. But it can be a good way to start to iron those things out. Do you have any other questions? What? I really like the setup, right? I think this idea is cool, right? He's, um, getting kind of pulled into this life of crime because he lives in this town that he wants to leave, and this is sort of some novel thing and it's just gonna spiral out of his control. In terms of setup, right? You ask, does it feel more? Um, Something you asked was, does it feel more uh, uh, romance, setting up for romance, or does it feel more like it's setting up for crime? And I would say it feels like it's setting up for like crime, right? With a romance subplot with Lena. Uh, just because up to where I've read, right, we have the prologue, which very clearly is like, setting it up as smuggling. And then we have the tension of like not really liking this place and this home and whatever. And um, and then we have the smuggler come in, and who's obviously going to be who Jackson works with. So I think we're setting that up more strongly than the romance. But I think what I imagine it's sort of moving toward is him trying to live this double life, because he's still living with a family and the sister, and there's Lena and there's Miss Wu, and I like how we're introducing these characters that are important, right? Miss Wu, and as connected to the other guy who's involved with the shipping. I imagine that will come back and be important. So um, I like a lot of things you're setting up. That starts to look like a grocery list of dialogue if I just laid it out line for line like that. Mixing up the arrangement of when the stuff they say happens visually on a page, it keeps it fresh. Yeah, and I think I think you could lean more in generally to the visual of this piece. And maybe you can go and like separately, write a short story and really think about just describing the world, or as an exercise, go out into the world and just vividly describe details, right? And then look at the thing you've written and ask, stop looking at whatever you're looking at and read the thing and ask if that describes the thing you were actually seeing, or if it is wrong, if it doesn't capture that thing in the world you were trying to show, right? And then do it again, right? And that could be a tree, that could be a field, that could be a city street, right? Um, and I think that would be a good way to maybe hone in, really practicing like the visual, because that will lend itself nicely to the dialogue work that you're already doing. It is a good thing you have going on, though. Yeah, it's dope. It's very cool. Harry's drunk in the boat scene. He's just talking, uh, and not even taking the other guys into consideration. I see. I see. Yeah. Um, I think you could lean into that, exaggerating things like that through dialogue. Um, I feel like, a job like this isn't fit for someone of your caliber. Why not work with me? Uh, better yet, or work for me, better yet, work with me, Jackson. I wonder if these words could be more slurred. I wonder if they could sound more like a drunk person rambling. That's a tricky thing to do in dialogue, to really make it feel like someone is talking in a certain way and to differentiate people through the way they talk. But that's one of the most important things dialogue can do, right? Is make this person feel different from the other. 5 pages is not enough to establish whether this is a crime or a romance. As you continue, as long as the ratio of crime to romance is higher, you have a crime novel. Yeah, and I think for what it's set up, right, it feels like Lena is the smaller story. Like there are already certain things about it being resolved. Like I need some time to think about this, right? And it seems like crime is the one that will cause more tension, that will cause more strife and triumph and whatever for this character. So, plus the prologue. I think you've set it up so far as more of a crime story, but at the same time, if you increased the ratio of romance, this could easily turn into mostly Lena and less crime, right? Also, is now a good time to do the dream analysis? Yeah, once we're like concluded with this. We meet Sly at the end of the chapter, and they talk about the crime world, and Sly gives his perspective on things. Good. So yeah, there will be more crime. The original prologue started out as hospital and going through how he met Harry, and a brief fling with a nurse. I feel like I like the short thing more than that idea. So, right, I like the brevity of much later in life. It gives us this idea that like he's going to get into this business and in some capacity he's going to succeed, right? He's not going to die like the other guy who he mentions, right, before he passed in 22. So I think your prologue does good work for its length, like really punchy. Do you need me to repost it? Yeah, you can send the dream thing again. That would be very helpful. Any other questions? What? Or anyone else have questions about anything I've said? Comments for what or otherwise? All is welcome now, and if not, then that will be the conclusion of us reading this story, I suppose. I will give a moment. But if you don't have questions, it's always nice to say I don't have questions, because then I'm not sitting here. Sly is based on Richard Pryor in Harlem Nights. I am not familiar. Got no other questions. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for submitting this. I really appreciate it. And I'm a little sleepy and a little maybe sick. So I hope that was coherent and helpful. And I really, really appreciate you submitting your work. It's always a very courageous thing to do, to just send your writing to someone on the internet. It means a great deal. And I treasure the chance to read people's writing. I will keep saying it. I will be sappy after every single thing. And now we're going to analyze Alekman's dream. Old dream. This was a dream I had in December 2025, but I wrote it down, or at least my takeaways from it, because of how vivid and interesting it was to me. I was digging through my old belongings and found an old copy of a short film I'd worked on with people who I knew in high school. Okay, the past, high school. Most of these people in the dream itself were represented by actual people I knew at the time. Both people I like and very much dislike. Some weren't people I knew, specifically a young woman who had apparently been very close friends with since childhood. Again, not a real person. It's like a hypothetical, ideal, um, female close friend. Interesting. The film itself was a cheesy horror flick, but I didn't remember working on it. Stranger still, there was something off about it. What I didn't realize looking at it was that we'd captured something supernatural on camera. A monster that lurked in the dark places and backgrounds of our work, hiding in plain sight. And by perceiving this thing, even if unconsciously, I'd given it new power. A freedom it had not had in years. Ooh, by seeing a thing, you give it power. Very symbolic. It knew our names, our faces, and it was going to come after us. One by one until all of us, or almost all of us, were gone. And it could truly be free. I love that's such a lovely like narrative. The like working on the horror film and then the monster comes and like basically places you in your own equivalent horror film. But if we are to say what this tells us about a Leckman's subconscious and psyche in a semi-serious, mostly joking Freudian manner. So we're digging through old belongings, find an old copy of a short film I worked on with people I knew in high school. And some are real and some are like hypothetical people. Okay, so it's like the past and it's like that. And then it's like going into something and seeing something you don't remember happening. Oh, that's weird. That's cool. And then there's like this girl. It's interesting that you mentioned this girl so specifically, right? The A young woman who had apparently been very close friends with since childhood, as like this archetypal figure of young innocent friendship. A horror flick, something a cheesy horror flick, something where you're hunted. Stranger Still, there was something off about it. I mean, I'm really interested in this idea of looking at something, right? Something in the past, and in seeing that thing in your past, it like awakens the power of that thing, and it begins to hunt you. So I maybe this dream, happened in association with either remembering something from the past that is now kind of lurking in one's mind and hunting, or a representation of some memory in the subconscious, some blocked out trauma that is sort of welling up, right, in context with this dream, or some change in one's life that is reminding one of something in the past that one is maybe like avoiding dealing with, right? And maybe that has to do with something happening in youth with a close friend, right? I mean, all of this is about these close friends working on art together, these right, this high school experience of creation. So perhaps there's this latent uh, uh, dissatisfaction, or some unresolved, untied thread of the past, right? And until that thread gets tied, right, that will hunt your mind. That will continue to try to catch up to you, and maybe it's even the fact of growing up itself, and watching friend groups and watching people who you once knew kind of unravel and move away, hunted by the monster that is time, that is distance. And so long as allow these lives to spiral further apart, they'll be hunted by this feeling of forgetting each other, by this monster that is time and separation. And maybe that offers a choices. One is to let the monster consume the old friendship and consume the things that died and the flames that have ceased to burn, or perhaps the friend group fights the monster and you maintain those things, and the friends who you once held close get to come back and be something new, and you get to watch that film that was your life, and rather than having it hunt you and haunt you, it can be a beautiful thing and just a pleasant memory of youth. Dream analyzed. um, I mentioned her because I remembered in the dream meeting her and her being really nice. She was also the only one to give me any info about the project. But if I recall it correctly, she was either working with or being manipulated by the monster. Oh, because by knowing more about it, it empowers its cognitohazard quality. Interesting. Okay, so then this unknown childhood friend, um, but she was close. Interesting. Working with the monster. I just didn't think it was relevant to the big picture of the dreams narrative. Okay, so maybe that's just a separate thread, right? Unraveling the idea, but maybe, right? Um, capturing that monster that we didn't know we captured, and then this person who's close coming to remind you, right? She essentially is the monster in a way by reminding you of this thing in the past, right? And I wonder if that speaks to some feminine figure, some Freudian feminine figure of the childhood, the female friend or the mother or the sister, as someone who is in your life or in your subconscious, uh, reminding you constantly, right, through existence of some trouble in the past, of some horror, of some monster that's clawing out and chasing you. Um, Interesting that it's a short film and then it's artistic, right? And maybe this must be resolved through art. It must be resolved through creation, and or something relating to art. um, Close, but again, not a real person. As you put it, the idealized concept of an old childhood friend. Yeah, it genuinely could. You actually had your finger on the pulse of something real with my evil house dream law. Yeah, I mean it's it's interesting, right? Because this dream to me is a story which I can just let myself symbolically like draw lines between. But for you, right, the dream is a product of the mind, and dreams tend to be reflections of our subconscious, right? I've been thinking a lot about my band and the tensions in it and its potential demise, and so the fact that I dreamed of two random people at a show trying to fuck up the lead singer and me killing them. Maybe that speaks to a subconscious desire to protect this person, even though maybe like their presence isn't great for me because I have a lot of trouble with them. Who knows, right? Um, but that's a really fascinating dream. That's a really cool one, right? Uh, uh, it's very narrative. Like I could almost see that dream as a horror movie itself, right? Where you have these kids, they go back, they look at, or you have these, I guess, adults, and they look back at a horror movie they made in high school, right? And then they see this monster inside of it, and when they do, right, the monster, kind of emerges and starts to hunt them like psychically, and they all get very paranoid about this monster. Uh, and maybe there's one person and you have like the main character of the story, and the friend group gets together to dig out all these old possessions. Maybe someone in the friend group dies, from the friend group dies, and they all end up getting back together. And then like there's someone here who like the main character doesn't remember, right, as part of the friend group, and they're very confused, and then that's your woman, and there's this weird like tension horror element of like I don't really know who she is, and maybe the others are like you don't remember her, what's up with that, and then yeah, and then she's the one who's like let's dig out the tape, and then that could be a cool that could be a really cool actual story, right? Sometimes dreams are just lovely as things to give us artistic inspiration, because they tend to draw these really interesting connections and lines between different things. And I think we also tend to look at them in this way of being symbolic. And that one's actually, I think that one's actually quite ripe to, be a short story or to be a short film or something like that, right? Yes, that happened in the dream. One of the friends died, and I just didn't see it. That's actually kind of crazy. um, yeah, and maybe there's a tragedy of like losing the I can think of this as memory, like losing the memories of childhood, and it's like they're dying without you seeing, and like there are these events that happen that you don't remember, and these people exist who you don't have a connection to, or like a fear of that happening. Um, I know the one with the house and the door. I was kind of talking about like a moving on from childhood kind of feel, right? That you said you kind of related to, um, but hmm. Also, maybe just a distance from the childhood self, like having taken actions as a young person that no longer feel like you. Um, that's something I felt. Yeah, it was almost presented to me like an analog slash internet horror story, um, more than anything in the first person. Yeah, it would be a great use for the first person. uh, Dreams are cool. I haven't dreamed in a while. Like I've been thinking for a while. Like I want to dream. I want to have a dream, and then I just had this dream last night about the band. So that was really kind of interesting. And then I guess maybe it was me talking about my dream that made you think like, oh, let me share my dream. But they're pretty cool. They're pretty useful and interesting sometimes. So that's good. I think it is just the one piece. Oh yeah, we did this one piece for today that we're reading. Just because I'm tired, just because there's this weird like maybe pseudo sick feeling. Oh, we're doing another dream analysis. That's fine. I'm down to do that. Okay. Um, we are analyzing a Ray dream, or is this like a story? Um, I think this is a dream. Let me share my screen. What are you sending me? I had it months ago. You planning on making it a short story. Okay, dope. Well, let's talk about this thing, and maybe my thoughts on it will help you uh, turn it into a story. Got Ray on here. Okay. Um, a group of friends head to a lakeside cabin in Aysén, Chile, to spend a couple days together. Amid ghost stories and rumors, a madman who runs naked along the amid ghost stories and rumors of a madman who runs naked along the roads, they arrive just in time to see the only neighbor, the caretaker who watches over the entrance of the lake, getting ready to leave on a trip. Okay, so the lake, big symbol of water. Interesting. Caretaker. Um, Interesting. Watching over the entrance of the lake. The father of one of the friends drives away, and almost as soon as he leaves, the pickup truck breaks down. On the very first day, one of the friends sets out to find help as soon as the vehicle fails. They are now cut off from the outside world, with nothing but a barely functioning radio. They lose electricity, except for the power they can draw from a car battery. For an entire week, fragmented radio broadcasts report that there is no contact with the capital or with the government. It's interesting. You like enter the lake, this like primal natural place, and then like slowly you're stripping away like these like mechanical, electronic, human things. It's like this going into like you go into the nature, you go to for a lakeside trip, to sort of like escape the bustle of life and escape things, and then it's truly this forced escape of like all of this connection to truly, go out and be alone in the woods. Um, Shadows in the woods and growing paranoia begin to consume them. Later, three of them set out during daylight to look for the friend who went for help, fearing that something happened to him. When they reach the caretaker's house, they hear someone running alongside the road. Convinced it is the unhinged naked man from their rumors, they panic and flee back to the cabin. After a week, the father finally returns to pick them up, realizing the friend who was left on the first day is still missing. I like that. They just realize it now. Very dreamlike. They decide to head back to town and call for a rescue team. I like that. It's another one of these things stripped away. I wonder if this friend in the story could be like the most tied to like the societal, um, and it's almost like at this point it feels like they kind of are fine with their situation, in a way. They decide to head back to town and call for a rescue team. As they cram into the vehicle, the father explains that a coup d'etat has taken place in Santiago. The president is dead, which is why there's been no news and he couldn't come for them sooner. The streets are full of soldiers, but worried about them, he decided to come anyway. Then they see a massive cloud of dust approaching from the opposite direction. On it emerges a naked man with wild, deranged appearance of a lunatic. They carefully drive past him, making sure not to hit him. Suddenly, the man sprints after the pickup truck at an impossible speed, almost catching up. It's their friend, the one who left them the very first day. Ah, interesting. It's like entering this place to I like that. It's interesting. This caretaker is just like a figure who exists, but is not necessarily like dug into within the dream itself. But like, there's this desire to like escape and go into the woods and into nature, and that desire is coupled with the stripping away of all of these like material comforts and these things, even to the degree of this friend. And then the friend himself almost becomes truly like reclaimed by nature and this like anti-societal, anti-social kind of deranged madman figure, right? Who has become a lunatic and is truly like turned over to nature. But it's interesting because almost like back at home in Santiago, right, or in the capital, there is this very um, vicious, non-societal, we can say antisocial, right? I mean, a government is sort of the idea, the pillar of society, the thing that holds it up, one might argue. And so there is this almost animal, takeover, fighting in the streets, right? The president is dead. It's full of soldiers. It is interesting, right? They escape to this sort of place that is very brutal and scary and animal, and what they are going from is the same kind of place, and they go back in, maybe like hoping to search for help, but it's no longer there. It's almost like everything in this story is kind of degrading, right? It's this societal collapse everywhere, and I think that's an interesting like high symbolic idea of this piece, maybe to read it as a dream, and this fear that no matter where you go, society or nature or anywhere, you can't escape like the human tendency to go against humanity, the human tendency to build things and then have them collapse upon themselves when the weight of them becomes too large to bear, that kind of thing. that's what I'm feeling. Hello, Reese. Welcome. It has been a minute. Yeah, you woke up and you said, I have to write this down. Yeah, I think this is a really interesting story, and it's fascinating, the whole like government thing and the radio and the trying to contact. Um, Also, you go from a bad situation into a worse one. You go from like a bad situation of like society, maybe they're just trying to get away from like work in their lives, to a worse one, the woods. And then you go from a bad situation to a worse one of like there's a coup and we're trying to go back to this place. And then you go from a bad situation to a worse one when like the lunatic on the road appears, and he's like this very symbolic thing of that kind of like immediate threat and degradation of the mind and the man. Um, so it truly, and it like flips back and forth, right? You go society to woods, society woods, um, in this very oscillating way, which is kind of cool. It's an interesting structure. I was not expecting that, but that's pretty good. I was genuinely expecting the naked man to be like a prophet or herald of some kind, someone who tries to warn people of the danger that lurks in the depths of the lake. And that the friend was the first victim, right? Um, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, he's almost like the mad prophet of the collapse of all things. I wonder if there could be some connection of like this guy to the president somehow. Of like the president was like after the coup was like thrown into some cage and like put in the central square and became like ravenous and raving, and unkempt, and naked. That would be kind of a cool way to present that, and a very exaggerated, very dreamlike turn of just like straight up a coup, right? If it was this, you know, um, yeah, an exaggeration of that thing. That'd be cool. Yeah, I dig that. That's I want to read the short story. I think it's from me reading old ass local newspapers because during the 73 coup, there was no contact with the capital for a week or so. Oh yeah, that would totally make sense as something to influence that dream and have that come to be. That seems like quite a natural a progression of things, right? So often our dreams are just impacted by the things directly happening in our lives. It was yesterday, right, that I was talking with another bandmate. I'm just talking about this band dream because it's on my mind. I was talking with another bandmate, the guitarist, about our lead singer, um, and about maybe their like mental state in relation to the band and how it's going to be going forward. And then I have this dream about them basically like flying off, at a couple people and getting into an argument, getting into a spat, and it leading to death. Right? There's some exaggerated symbolicness to that, and I'm not very confident, about the band and truly its ability to like persist long term, at least in the way that it currently is. Other time it's like I don't know, playing ping pong with Elmo and Jesus. Can't say I've had that one in particular, Ray, but yeah, sometimes it's just weird. Uh, yeah. Okay. I think that's all for stream. Uh, Short, simple, read a thing. Um, no need to force it and make myself super tired or anything. Thanks for stream. Thanks for coming, Wobble C. My mom just screamed from seeing a huge bug. Awesome. So tomorrow there will be no stream. Tomorrow there will be no stream. But during the time, like, it's because I'm going to be at an online poetry workshop, just attending it. So if anyone is seeking poetry at that time and craving that from the withdrawal, the link is in the announcement that I put in the Discord server, and it's free. You just have to like put in your email to sign up. You signed up for it too. Looks fun. Awesome. Uh, and it's yeah. I will be teaching a workshop with that organization, uh, in December, so I've been trying to show up to. They do them monthly to all of them, and they've been good workshops. So I think it'll be enjoyable, and it's free. Free knowledge is the best kind of knowledge, right? Glad I caught a bit of stream. Thank you for what you do. Thanks for coming in, Reese, and I appreciate the watching and the kind words. Yeah, I guess that's all. I hope you all keep making art you love, and I hope you keep finding beauty in the world. And I'll see you next time. So next stream will be Monday. Yeah. Bye.